Hi there, everyone. My name is Kai Wiesner-Hanks, and I'm the coordinator for the Japan Exchange and Teaching, or JET program up in San Francisco. I'm here today to talk a little bit about our program and hopefully encourage some of you to apply. Just real quick, I think the program is one of the best ways to get abroad, one of the best ways to start working right out of university, and in particular, probably the best way out there for you to learn more about Japan, to learn more about Japanese culture, Japanese tradition, and to really experience the country at a deep level. Without any further ado, let's get started.
All right, so the first thing I'd like to start off with is what is the JET program? So JET again stands for Japan Exchange and Teaching Program, and put really simply, it's one of the world's largest English teaching programs. We have about 65,000 alumni, we have about 5,000 current JETs in Japan, and we've been around for 30 years. So we're one of the longest running, one of the most established teaching programs of its kind. But for you guys, the JET program is really an employment opportunity to live and work in Japan. And as someone who did the JET program for 5 years, I really feel it's one of the best ways to kind of combine the benefits of a job right out of university, building your work experience, earning that income seriously, with the benefits of something like study abroad, learning about a different culture, being immersed in a different country. I don't think there's many programs out there that allow you to both learn about a country at the same time that you're building your work experience quite as well as the JET program does. Now, it is an employment opportunity, and we have two positions. The most common one that most people do is the assistant language teacher position, and this is actually about 90% of all JETs. And this is, again, basically working in a school to help teach English and, of course, teach cultural lessons as well. The second position we offer to a lot of people is the coordinator for international relations position. And this is something that only about 10% of JETs do. But basically, CIRs, as we call them, use their Japanese and professional setting to translate, interpret, event plan, do a wide variety of duties. The key idea here being that for the CIR position, you do need very strong Japanese. For the assistant language teacher position, you actually don't need any Japanese, and some of our best JETs have come in with, the only Japanese they know being like konnichiwa and stuff like that. Whether you're working as an ALT or whether you're working as a CIR, all JETs serve as cultural ambassadors of the United States to Japan. You're there to introduce the ideas of American culture, American history, American tradition to these Japanese communities. Of course, at the same time, you're learning about these Japanese communities, so it really is an international exchange at the grassroots level. And I think this is one of the most successful parts of the program because you see these JETs go into schools, go into towns, go into villages and cities, and really improve the image of America in these Japanese areas. The flip side, of course, is that you take these JETs to these kind of lesser known Japanese areas oftentimes, and you really come away with not only a greater understanding of what Japan is like, but specifically the town, the city, the village you lived in. You really get to understand this place as a second home. We actually started in 1987 with only 850 JETs from 4 different countries who were primarily English-speaking countries. As of last year, we actually have nearly 6,000 JETs from 57 different countries. And one of the real big benefits of the program is that it's changed from something that's specifically English language focused to a program that does incorporate a lot of people from a lot of different countries around the world. So obviously on the program we do have a lot of people from the United States, we have a lot of people from the UK, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, but we have many JETs from areas like South Korea, China, Russia, Israel, France, Brazil, really almost any place you can imagine has people on the JET program. And one of the big benefits that I didn't honestly expect going in was that I now have connections to people from all around the world. Some of the best friendships I made on the JET program were from people who I never would have gotten the chance to meet otherwise. So it's not just an international exchange between you and the Japanese communities you're serving, it's an international exchange between you and the other JET program participants. So as I mentioned, there are 2 positions on the JET program that people apply to, the big one being assistant language teacher, and this is the one that most JET participants are going to be applying to and are going to be doing in Japan. And as the name implies, as an assistant language teacher, you're working with a Japanese teacher of English to, again, instruct the students in English, to instruct them in cultural issues, to assist that main teacher in the classroom. So if you're not a trained teacher, if you don't have a lot of teaching experience, don't worry, we're not just going to throw you in front of a bunch of Japanese students and tell you to start teaching from day one. You're working with trained Japanese teachers of English. You'll also be helping out in planning lessons, you'll be creating teaching materials, and oftentimes ALTs get up to a lot of different events. You may help out with an English language speech contest, an English language summer camp. You might do lessons on American culture, you could do cooking classes. Some ALTs have led things like theater productions and stuff. Really, there's a lot of variety in the kind of duties and stuff you can get up to. One of the big things that you are there to do, though, is to motivate and inspire your students. And I think this is something that bears repeating, is that for a lot of your students, you're the only non-Japanese person they know. So you have a really great chance to inspire them, to motivate them to learn more about the outside world, to build their interest in connecting with people of different cultures. And it's important to remember that position that you have is very special on the JET program. The second position, again, is that coordinator for international relationship position I talked about. And this is, again, something where you use your Japanese language skills to interpret, to translate, to create newsletters, oversee cultural events, give presentations, really kind of a lot of different things. And this was actually the position I took when I was on the JET program. And one of the big benefits about it is that you honestly get to try a lot of different stuff. You're not just doing one job, you're not just working as a teacher. You have times where you teach, but you also have times where you translate, where you write, where you receive international guests and help them tour around your prefecture. Basically, you get to try your hand at a lot of things, which I think really helps inform your future career decisions. So unlike the ALT position, however, you aren't working usually with kids on a regular basis, you aren't working with younger students, you are working with the community members. So your role there is to kind of inform, to kind of educate the Japanese public about your thoughts as a non-Japanese person in Japan, American cultural issues, really a wide variety of things. So as I mentioned earlier, all JETs are employed by a contracting organization in Japan. This could be a board of education, a town government, a prefectural government, but basically this contracting organization is your direct employer. They're your kind of boss for the day-to-day. All JETs are initially hired on a 1-year contract period, which you can extend up to a 5-year maximum. Most JETs probably do 2 to 3 years, but one of the nice things about the program is that you can really choose how long you stay on it, how long you do it, what you make of your JET experience. If you want to take a 1-year gap year kind of thing before coming back to start a career in the US, that's totally fine. If you want to do the full 5 years, that's totally okay. It's very easy to say yes to another year. It's very easy to say no and then head back home after your time is up. All JETs are going to be working 35 hours a week. Typically, this is about from 8:30 to 4:30, Monday to Friday. It is pretty rare to do any kind of overtime. It is pretty rare to work on any weekends. If you do any overtime, if you do work on the weekend, you do get those hours off later. So oftentimes for ALTs, you might work a school event on a Saturday, and then you'd have that next Monday off. So the JET contracts are typically very uniform across all the contracting organizations, so all JETs are going to get at least 10 days of paid vacation off, plus 15 national holidays. So a lot of vacation time if you want to travel around Japan, travel around Asia, come back home and visit family or something like that. All JETs are also going to be getting a salary of 280,000 yen for the first year. That does go up every year, so the longer you stay, the higher your salary gets. We also do cover transportation to Japan, and we cover transportation back home when you're done. So you don't have those initial startup costs when you're getting adjusted. You don't have to pay for that flight. You don't have to pay for transportation from Tokyo to your organization, and you don't have to pay for transportation when you're done with the program as well. So it does take care of a lot of those startup and finishing costs that come with a lot of times living abroad. All JETs are also enrolled in national health insurance. We do also enroll JETs in the pension system. We also enroll JETs in unemployment insurance. So basically you have a lot of support financially when you are over there. If you do have any health issues, if you do want to stay in Japan after your time on JET, you can claim unemployment because we really want to make sure that JETs are taken care of when they're over there. So JET participants are placed all across Japan, typically going to be in smaller cities, towns, sometimes villages, although being very remote is pretty rare. There's not as many JETs in large cities. That said, that's been changing. We have a lot of JETs in Kobe, we have a lot of JETs in Osaka, and actually the #1 destination for JETs right now is Tokyo. So out of the 5,700 JETs we have, about 500 of them are living and working in Tokyo proper. So as a JET, you're going to be immersed into this Japanese culture, into the Japanese society, into really your local community. And as I said at the start, one of the best parts about this program is that you're not just going to become an expert on Japan, you become an expert on your town. You know what the local dishes are, you know when the festivals happen, you know the best spot to get pizza in your area. You know everything about your town in a way that not even other Japanese people will. I lived in a place called Niigata Prefecture, which is famous for rice, sake, and seafood. And I honestly thought it was probably not going to be that different than the rest of Japan, but going there and trying the rice for the first time completely blew my mind. So it really is something where, even now, years after the fact, Niigata is still like a second home to me. And I think for a lot of Jets, that is what happens to the place you end up. So after the JET program, one of the nice things about our big alumni network is that Jets are always trying to help Jets get jobs. Jets are always trying to help Jet alumni, with the next step in life. Because it is ultimately a 1 to 5 year program, you're going to have to go on to something else afterwards. And with our alumni association, we have those in 15 different countries. In the United States, we have Jet AA USA with 19 US chapters. Particularly, we do have Jet AA Northern California, Jet AA Southern California, and basically it's a way to both connect with other JET alumni, but also then again to find employment information, to engage with Japan again, and essentially to get support after you do finish, if you have any questions, if you have any trouble readjusting back to life in the United States. So to get into the JET program, you do have to apply, and applications are going to open every October, November, and those are done entirely online on our homepage, jetprogramusa.org. If you're successful in that initial stage, you do have an interview at your local Japanese consulate in late January, early February, depending on the year and the actual location. Should you be successful with that, we'll let you know probably around early April, and then you would leave for Japan later in the summer. In terms of who can actually apply to the program, the big main requirement we have for most people is that if you are applying from the US, you do have to be a US citizen, and you do have to have a bachelor's degree by the time of departure. So you could certainly be a senior in university, graduate in June, and then go out to the JET program that following August, but you will need to have that degree completed by the time you leave the country. Beyond that, there are a number of other small requirements. The big thing I do want to mention, though, is that we don't require any specific degree, any teaching experience. You could be a dance major, you could be an engineering major, you could have never studied a day of Japanese in your life, and you're still eligible to apply to the program. I will say that if you are looking to apply to that coordinator position, you do have to have strong Japanese language skills. That said, if you are looking to apply to the ALT, the teaching position, you can have absolutely zero Japanese as long as you have that strong interest to go to Japan, to engage in exchange, and to share your culture, your community with these Japanese communities. So for more information, you can always check out our website. jetprogramusa.org is going to have the latest information. You can also contact us. I'm up here in San Francisco. You can contact me at that top address, or you can contact Grant, who's our coordinator down in Los Angeles. So depending on where you are in California, you can easily reach out to either of us if you have any questions. You can also go on jetprogramusa.org if you are living in a different area and see who your local JET coordinator is. You can easily reach out to them. So I hope you all enjoyed that little presentation. I really do again think JET is one of the greatest programs out there for getting young adults like yourselves working abroad, for learning more about Japan, and for really getting that career started right out of university. As someone who did the program for 5 years, I can't speak highly enough of it, and I hope to see a lot of you all apply in the future. Thank you very much.